What's up, everyone? It's Tim from Tim Plays the Game here with my predictions for Nintendo at E3 2017. E3 in Los Angeles is only a few days away, and every game company tries to put on a great show, and Nintendo is no different with their spotlight presentation. I always like to do something special and write down my predictions in the form of a bingo card. Some of these predictions have a good chance of happening, and some are a little more out there than that they may not happen, but there's a chance. Let's start at the top of the bingo card. First, Super Mario Odyssey release date. This one is a given since Nintendo has already announced that they will be unveiling and demonstrating the upcoming Super Mario Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch. Unfortunately, we have yet to hear of a concrete release date. The release date that they gave us during the Nintendo Switch Direct earlier this year was that Super Mario Odyssey was to be released in holiday 2017. I'm expecting an early November release date, which would make Super Mario Odyssey the #1 gift for the holiday season. Next prediction, Layton's Mystery Journal. Do you remember the Professor Layton series of puzzle games for the Nintendo DS and 3DS? Well, last year we received a trailer for an upcoming game in the series for the Nintendo 3DS, which had the working title Lady Layton. It has since been changed to Layton's Mystery Journal. However, we have not received any new information since. Hopefully this year at E3 we will receive a new trailer, some information about the new game in the Professor Layton series. Next, Skyrim? Speaking of the Nintendo Switch Direct, do you remember the few seconds of the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim footage we saw being played on Nintendo Switch? Since then, we've received no new information about this, other than that the Nintendo Switch port is set to be released sometime in 2017. Here's hoping that Nintendo Switch gets the 10th best-selling game in history. Next up, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon Details. Last week during the Pokemon Direct, we received our first glimpse at Pokemon Stars. I mean Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon for the Nintendo 3DS. Other than a minute-long reveal trailer, we have virtually no information about these games, except that they are set to be released on November 17th, 2017. I have high hopes that we will get more information about this game, and maybe even a demonstration from the Nintendo Treehouse. Next up, Splatoon 2 details. Even though Splatoon 2 will be arriving on July 21st, 2017, we just can't get enough of the Splatoon details. We will get to see the Splatoon 2 World Inkling Invitational Tournament at E3, but any new information we get about this game will be appreciated. Next up, more Switch Online games. Starting next year, you'll be paying to play your favorite Nintendo Switch games online. While we already have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and will be receiving ARMS, Splatoon 2, and Pokken Tournament DX real soon, it would do Nintendo a world of good to offer a wide variety of Switch Online games if they hope to capitalize on the paid Nintendo Switch Online service. Star Wars Battlefront for Switch. This one hasn't been announced, nor is there any information to suggest that it will even happen. I would just really like to see Star Wars Battlefront or even Battlefront 2 on the Nintendo Switch. I will say that Nintendo did boast pretty heavily about their third-party support for the Nintendo Switch, and EA is one of its partners, so it isn't too far out of the realm of possibility. Next up, Animal Crossing Switch. Animal Crossing New Leaf for the Nintendo 3DS has been well received and is still being played today. However, if Nintendo wants to bring gamers together, nothing works better than a new Animal Crossing game. With better graphics, processing power, and the ability to take it with you on the go, the Nintendo Switch would make a great platform for the next Animal Crossing game in the series. Next up, the Kirby Game. Nintendo recently celebrated Kirby's 25th anniversary, but we have yet to see a Kirby game for the Nintendo Switch. It will be interesting to see what Nintendo has in store for the pink Nintendo iconic character. We may even see a Nintendo Switch title, if not at E3, then in the near future. Next up, Smash Bros. Switch. Since the Nintendo 64, Nintendo has always released a version of Smash Bros. For its major platforms. It's a given that Nintendo will eventually release a version of Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch, again, if not at E3, then in the near future. Next up, the Super NES Classic. The NES Classic Edition was a huge success, selling 2.3 million units before it was discontinued. Nintendo could stand to gain the same amount of success even more with a Super NES Classic Edition. Super Mario World, Link to the Past, and Donkey Kong were just some of the best games for the Super NES, and bringing them back in a plug-and-play console would be amazing. Next up, Dark Souls for Switch. Just like my prediction for Star Wars Battlefront game for the Nintendo Switch, it wouldn't be impossible for a Dark Souls game to be ported to the Nintendo Switch as well. The Dark Souls series has been hugely popular, and Namco Bandai, being one of Nintendo's third-party partners, could make this happen. Next, a Metroid game. Let's ignore Federation Force for a minute. I have been waiting to see a good Metroid game for quite some time. I remember how Metroid Prime revived the series, and I think it's time for Nintendo to use their skills to do it again by bringing the series to the Nintendo Switch. Metroid making an awesome online game and bring in subscribers for the new Nintendo Switch Online service. Next, Switch apps. The Wii had apps, the Wii U had apps, the 3DS has apps. People have been asking where are the applications for the Nintendo Switch. Netflix, Hulu, Crunchyroll, we don't have any of these. We don't even have a functioning internet browser for the Switch. Come on, Nintendo, give us back our apps. Next, a Donkey Kong game. Like with Metroid and Kirby, we have to have a Donkey Kong game for the Nintendo Switch. And to be clear, I'm not hoping for a Donkey Kong vs. Mario game or another Jungle Beats, something like the Donkey Kong Country or Donkey Kong Country Returns games. That's what I want. Surprisingly, we haven't seen a lot of side-scrolling games for the Nintendo Switch yet. Next up, the Switch Virtual Console. If Nintendo won't give us any apps for the Nintendo Switch, at least give us a virtual console. The Wii and the Wii U had a healthy selection of games, and bringing them to the Switch wouldn't be a problem and would be awesome. I would like to see some of the GameCube games this time around, since the Switch has the ability to support them. Next up, new Switch accessories. This one is also obvious to happen since Nintendo loves capitalizing on making their systems better with accessories. I personally would like to see a battery pack that supports longer portable gaming. The Pro Controller, Joy-Con charging docks, and game screen stand are just some of the accessories that have already come out, but there is always more that can be done for the Nintendo Switch. Next up, the 3DS and Switch compatibility. Nintendo has proven that they plan to continue to produce content for the Nintendo 3DS, and they even released a new 2DS XL set for this July. The Nintendo Switch and 3DS are two of Nintendo's most popular systems, and being able to connect them in some way would help sell more units and make for an awesome gaming experience. Next, a new franchise game. ARMS is just the latest new franchise game to be produced by Nintendo, and the global test punch built up enough hype to make sure it is successful upon release on July 16th. Nintendo's newest franchises have always helped gain recognition and bring new gamers to Nintendo, so introducing a new franchise will be a golden opportunity. This has been done at E3 in the past with such titles as Pikmin and Splatoon. I love the other Nintendo franchises such as Mario, Zelda, and Star Fox to name a few, but a new franchise game would definitely cement the Nintendo Switch as a major video game console. Next, WarioWare Switch. WarioWare hasn't always been a successful game series, but it would be interesting to see what Nintendo could do with a WarioWare on the Nintendo Switch. I'm not particularly anticipating this one, but it would be nice to see. Next, a Nintendo Eleague. This one might be a little far-fetched, but an official Nintendo Eleague would be freaking amazing. Nintendo clearly has their sights set on celebrating the serious competitive gamer. This year at E3, Nintendo has 3 huge invitational tournaments planned to demonstrate Splatoon 2, Pokken Tournament, DX, and ARMS to the Nintendo Switch. Even in the Nintendo Switch reveal trailer, we can see what looks like a large-scale tournament for Splatoon 2. A Nintendo Eleague would be a golden opportunity to show that Nintendo is for professional gamers. Next, Breath of the Wild DLC. You may have already purchased the expansion pass for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and we can be expecting to see DLC Pack 1 come out sometime this summer. However, it would be nice to have a set release date for one or both of the downloadable content packs. I would also like to see some more information about the new original story, the new dungeon, and the additional challenges mentioned for the DLC Pack 2 set for Holiday 2017. Next, more Amiibos. Let's face it, true Nintendo fans are suckers for Amiibos, and I'm one of them. I love collecting them, and Nintendo will definitely capitalize on the Amiibo success by creating ARMS series for Amiibos. We may even see some Amiibos for Super Mario Odyssey. This one is obviously going to happen, but which characters and games Nintendo will use remains a mystery. And finally, a big surprise. This last one is more objective, if anything, but E3 presentations have always been a good platform to surprise the gaming masses with something no one saw coming, or a game that was so unexpected that it makes you rise out of your seats and cheer. Nintendo hasn't had any major surprises at E3 in recent years, but this E3 could change that. And those are my predictions for Nintendo's Spotlight presentation at E3 2017. If you have any predictions of your own that you want to talk about, or you want to talk about my predictions for E3, please let me know in the comments section below. I want to thank everyone for watching. This is Tim from Tim Plays a Game signing off, and good night.